Humanity, I love you all with all my heart, with all my might. This is a very exciting video. As you know, my videos are about love, infinity, creation, energy, because we're infinite love, we're infinite energy, infinite creation. This is exactly who we are. We're the human species. We're a benevolent race. We're a heart-based race, a love-based race, a good species. This is who we are. We live to love and we love to live. It's our instinct to live due to the heartbeat. The primordial human instinct to survive, to live, to exist is the human heartbeat. The pulse of life, the pulse of creation. It generates an electromagnetic field around the human body that powers the human body. So we can think, be conscious and self-aware, be sentient as a result. So we can love. And it's not a coincidence that we love with our hearts. And it is our hearts that give us life. So the biological creator is the human heart. And we live to love because our instinct is to love. We love our creations. We love our children. We make love. We have children. And our instinct is to love them. And like that, everything else of the life cycle continues. Our children learn to love from us, and then they do the same. So biologically, that's how we do it, the instinct of reproduction. But then we love ourselves through self-love, and we love others, and we love our creations, and we love others and other people's creations too. And this is the cycle of life. We live to love, and we love to live. Why? Because of the human heartbeat. It's our instinct to love, making us a benevolent species. You see, love is the highest energy that comes from the human heart. And we're alive because of the human heart. We're energy. Energy is creation. And creation is life. So the human heartbeat, pulse of life, the pulse of creation generates the electromagnetic field that creates us. And then we love with our hearts as a result. And it's the highest energy we create with the love of our hearts. So this is who we are. We are the human species. We're a benevolent species. We're a light spherical beings, just like our electromagnetic field, just like the sun itself being spherical energy and having its own electromagnetic field, and the earth being spherical and having its own electromagnetic field. Then it's us, compasses and sundials. We open the portal, we build the bridge, stare at the sun, we open our hearts. We're conscious about our unity with everything because we're infinite energy, infinite love, infinite creation. We evolve when we stare at the sun. Supercharges our DNA, our brain cells, our heart cells, all the human body cells get supercharged by the energy coming from the sun and making us understand who we are, be more conscious and self-aware, more loving, understand our nature. So we can love with our hearts as it's supposed to be done and create with our hearts as it is the case because we are a benevolent species. This is our nature. Today's video is about fantasies and illusions. As you know, I have written this book, Fantasies and Illusions, Compass, The Quest for Free Will. And the book starts with that title, Fantasies and Illusions. Why? Because it's been fantasies and illusions that kept us in the dark, unconscious, and unaware of our nature, who we are, infinite energy, infinite love, infinite creation, light spherical beings, compasses and sundials. It's been that ignorance, fear, pain and suffering, all these low vibrations, these low energies, fantasies and illusions. And that's why the book starts with that, because we move away from that. We have transitioned, we have fully transformed, we have metamorphosized into who we are. Light spherical beings, infinite energy, infinite love, infinite creation, compasses and sundials. So it's moving away from fantasies and illusions, understanding our nature as compasses and sundials, so we can understand that we all have free will. We manifest free will with our purposeful daily action. So today's video is about fantasies and illusions. I want to start there and break it down. I have this new device that allows me to record better quality videos for longer than 40 minutes now. So I can go for a little bit longer if it's required. So this video, I'm changing things a little bit. I'm improving the quality of the content. And also the titles of the videos would change. They won't be the URL link to the website anymore. They would have their own subtitle and their own title because it's better for the algorithm. So people can find the content with a more appropriate subject title. So this is exactly what today's video is, Fantasies and Illusions. So I want to get into it So please refer to the image, because as you know, I make a video based on an image of the book, because the book is visual. So then I can explain myself. So this is the image, the video about the Fantasies and Illusions image and what it represents and what it is. Haven't done it yet, but it's time to do it. The time has come. Okay, so I'm going to quickly describe what fantasies and illusions are, and then I'm going to break them down. So fantasies and illusions is essentially, they come from mediums and media. They come in the way of messengers and messages, and they're outside your control and within your control. So these are the two dimensions. Remember, existence, reality, itself, infinity. It's based on duality. Has spoken about duality principles before. So this, as you can see, this is duality between outside your control and within your control, messengers and messages, and mediums and media, and also fantasies and illusions. You see, there is a duality there. Is the what makes reality possible, duality. So let's start there. So what's a fantasy and what's an illusion, and why that order? Okay, so think of an illusion as something that is not real. I have spoken in the past about what the structure, the components, the definition, the elements that make up fantasies and illusions. There's 8 primordial things that essentially build up fantasies and illusions. I have done this in previous videos, so I'm not going to discuss this one. Please refer that in the previous video, but this is what it does as a result of in fact, I might actually do a refresher on it while we're at it, because it's actually important. That I'm glad that I actually came to think about it, because in fact, it is very important to understand the nature and the structure and where they come from. So let's just quickly do that then, and then we can... So I spoke about it in the video about perception, sensory perception, which is reality itself. So fantasies and illusions are essentially based on 8 elements: delusional, abstract, unrealistic, distorted, dissonant, confused, deceptive, and distracted. I've spoken about this before, and I'm most likely going to make other videos about it in the future. But this is the state of it. This is like what it represents, the build-up. So delusional, because it's falsehoods, drawing misinterpretations of reality. It's abstract. They're abstract fantasies and illusions because it's vague notions inconsistent with reality. They're unrealistic because it's the misaligned perceptions diverging from reality. Unrealistic because it's misaligned perceptions diverging from reality. Sorry, I said that already. It's distorted because they're altered sensory perceptions affecting reality. The dissonant because they're conflicting sensory perceptions disrupting reality. Confused, the confusing, leading to confusion because they lacking sensory clarity and disorienting reality as a result. The deceptive because the misleading sensory impressions impacting reality. And the distracting because they lacking sensory focus on reality. So this is the definition of it, the nature of fantasies and illusions. This is the breakdown of what it is. So these 8 components that I just mentioned, just gonna refer to them again. Delusional, so this is the nature of fantasies and illusions. They're delusional, they're abstract, they're unrealistic, they're distorted, they're dissonant, they're confused, they're deceptive, and distracted. That's the nature of it. So that's what it does to us humans. These fantasies and illusions, and the mechanisms used. So these 8 things happen as a result. Are essentially, I'm just gonna read another layer because this is a sensory perception, but there is another layer to it. there's another layer to it, which is an important one, and I'm going to go through it quickly because I think it's very important that we talk about it actually, now that we're on the subject. So essentially what it does, you know how a compass has 8 primary elements: identity and true self, purpose, time and energy, action, why, how, flow, true north, and destination. So this is the 8 primary elements of compass, who we actually are, and this is how we shatter fantasies and illusions when we understand our nature. This is how we manifest our free will, because we understand that we're compasses. But we need to move away from fantasies and illusions. We need to metamorphosize, transform ourselves, evolve, move away from this state, which is very low, fantasies and illusions. And it's quite common. So when it comes to identity and true self, so fantasies and illusions essentially make us unaware as humans. We're unaware of our nature, who we are, light spherical beings, benevolent species, infinite eternal creators, compasses, sundials, capable of manifesting our free will, making our dreams come true with purposeful daily action. So it makes us unaware. Then it makes us purposeless too, because we're not focused on, we don't understand who we are, so we're aimlessly moving around because of all these fantasies and illusions. So it makes us purposeless. Then in terms of time and energy, it makes us dysfunctional because we can't really manage our time and our energy adequately because of all these distractions, because of all these deceptions, because of all these confusion that I just mentioned before, the 8 sensory perception issues that come as a result of fantasies and illusions. And it makes us delusional as a result of these, so we can't take action, we're inactive, we are paralyzed by fear and many other low states of energy and emotions that makes us inactive, inert. And we're scattered, our thoughts become scattered because then again, packed with fantasies and illusions. Then it's destructive in nature. Fantasies and illusions are destructive in nature. They're low vibrations, they're low energy. So they don't really help us at all in our way, in our purpose, in our destination, in anything that is positive to make our dreams come true as infinite eternal creators. It makes us fragile because fantasies and illusions are a fragile state. And that leads to fragmented minds. We're not thinking correctly as a result of the sensory perceptions that I mentioned before. Delusional, abstract, unrealistic, distorted, dissonant, confused, deceptive, and distracted. You see, all these things add up, and it creates a massive problem for us as humans. And this is why fantasies and illusions must be disintegrated. They must be shattered. Because this is what we do. We're infinite eternal energy. This is who we are. And because we're energy, due to the electromagnetic field of the resonance of the human heart, the heartbeat, the pulse of life, the pulse of creation, we shatter things with the energy of love, the energy of creation. So we move away from that low vibration, that low state that creates traumas, that creates all sorts of issues in our lives. And these traumas and these issues are what we know as the unconscious mind and the shadow. So we need to deal with the shadow, and we need to not cast it away, but disintegrate it, shatter it. So it's fully destroyed, it's fully dissipated, discharged, released, deloaded and decharged, because it doesn't have an energetic cognitive load with negative energy holding us back anymore, because it's been disintegrated, it's been fully destroyed. And this is the problem with fantasies and illusions. That's why it has taken us thousands of years to understand who we are, due to the nature that we were conscious, unconscious, and self-aware of who we are, who we were. Unaware fully. But now we know who we are. We know who we are. It's based on objective reality and truth. So the way all these mechanisms that I just mentioned, distorting compass and creating all these problems, and the sensory perception of fantasies and illusions, so it's based on mediums and media, messengers and messages outside your control and within our control. Okay, and this is just prevalent, and this is commonplace everywhere. So I'm just gonna give you examples of how to spot it, identify it, and disintegrate the shadow and take control of your unconscious mind. So you can be a compass as we are supposed to be, because this is our instinct, this is who we are. We live to love and we love to live. We're a purposeful species. Our purpose is to love, to create with our minds and our hearts. Because we're light, spherical energy, this is who we are. So, okay, so let's start there then. So what's mediums and media then? Mediums, there's an infinite number of mediums. Mediums could be a human is a medium. Technology is a medium. Channels, distribution channels, all these different things, they're mediums. Platforms, they're mediums. All these different mechanisms that we use to communicate and gather information through our senses. Remember, sensory perception, our senses. So we can make sense of reality with our senses and our minds. So because we're conscious and self-aware, we perceive reality through our senses. So we're sentient. As a result, we're intelligent. So it's making sense of reality as what it is. So moving away from fantasies and illusions. So I'm going to give you an example of a medium. A medium could be smartphone. Could be a medium. Okay, a smartphone. And an app within the smartphone is another medium. So a medium within a medium. And this app could be, say, for example, a platform for information sharing and knowledge sharing. Say, social media platform. Then again, a medium within a medium within a medium. 3 categories, 3 levels. But there's a 4th level, which is the human that is carrying the smartphone. So there's a medium within a medium within a medium within a medium. 4 mediums. The human carrying the smartphone, the app within the smartphone, and the nature of the app. In this case, social media platform. So you see 4 levels, 4 layers of mediums. Okay, just as an example, this is what there is an infinite number of mediums. And then we move into media. So what's media? Well, media is the information itself that is moved, the content as we know it nowadays, that is shared through the medium. So that could be a video, for example. That could be an image. That could be anything that we can perceive with our senses. Sensory perception. So anything. Could be even smell. Could be anything. Sound. Doesn't really matter. It could be anything that our senses pick up and our brain decodes and make sense of it as reality as we know it, with our mind, our consciousness, and our self-awareness. So we make sense of the world with our consciousness because we're intelligent, we're sentient. And the thing about mediums and media is that the message comes from the media. You see, it's a message, but there's messengers as well. So the media can be the messenger and the message, or it could be in the other way. For example, you can be reading a newspaper on a phone app. So you see, the newspaper would be the messenger, right? Because you're reading a newspaper for the message, the content. But then again, it's part of a media, the smartphone. So the messenger can become the media as well. So the messenger can become the media. So the newspaper itself becomes the media because it has a logo, it has a brand of its own, an image, a reputation. All because you assign values and hierarchies and categories. You label things with our mind. That's how we do it. We see a newspaper and we say, okay, this is this newspaper. And we give meaning to it. We attach meaning to it, attach value to it as a result. So this is what we do. But then again, that's a message on its own. And there is emotional attachment to that message because of what that brand, that logo represents in our lives. And that on itself is a message, as a message of its own. But the message hasn't been shared, which is the article, the news, whatever is going to be shared by that. So then again, it's a messenger at the same time. And this is the case for all mediums and media. All mediums and media, depending on the way they're distributed, they could be the messenger and the message at the same time. So this is why this is important to understand this nature, the duality of it. This duality where the messenger and the message becomes the medium and the media, so they have this intertwined nature. And this is what creates fantasies and illusions, because it's hard to differentiate them because they have this duality. And that's just an example with the social media or the newspaper, you see? So then again, let's talk about it in terms of what a fantasy and illusion is then. So for example, you watching a video on a social media app, any social media app, then again, itself is a messenger, but it's also a message because it has its own logo, its own brand. And remember, because we are sentient beings, we're conscious and self-aware, we're intelligent, we attach emotions to images, to the senses. So our senses perceive realities in the way of mediums and media, messages and messengers. And we attach value to them based on our emotions. So and the association that we give to those logos, those brands, the reputation and the impact they had on our lives. So we would associate them negatively or positively. Why? Because emotions are positive and negative. Duality again, because we're sentient, and that's why fantasies and illusions are low vibration, the low energy, destructive in nature. Because it's low energy association. You're associating that article, that image negatively. That's why it becomes a fantasy and illusion. Because it has a negative impact. You have a negative cognitive load, emotionally speaking, attached to that medium, that media, the message and the messenger. So when that image comes to your mind, or that news article is read, or that content is shared on social media, then you have an emotional reaction to it as a result. And that creates all sorts of problems in the way of fantasies and illusions because of the nature of the frequency of the message and the messenger, the medium and the media, the way the message is being shared. So your mind creates all sorts of fantasies and illusions due to the nature of the sensory perception of these. I explained it before and what it does to us. So there's 8 categories. I spoke about them already. So the first one is delusional, abstract, unrealistic, distorted, dissonant, confused, deceptive, and distracted. It causes all sorts of issues, fantasies and illusions. And then unaware, purposeless, dysfunctional, delusional, scattered, destructive, fragile, and fragmented. That's what it does as a result. The end state that does to us when it's low energy, low vibration. So this is why we need to understand the nature of fantasies and illusions, mediums and media, messengers and messages, because that's what they do if they are not positive. Because of the message being negative, our body reacts to it negatively, and it creates all sorts of issues in our lives. Okay, so let's give an example. So there's a social media app on your smartphone, and then this social media app, it has a system that essentially is feeding you information, messages, right? Media. And then you've been fed this, say for example, it's a video about someone you don't know. And then again, that's an illusion. Why is it an illusion? Because the video is not the real person. So in your brain, your perception, your consciousness and self-awareness immediately is creating a distortion in your mind. It's an illusion because that video is not the real person. It might not even be a real person. It might be a deep fake, generative AI. It might not actually be a real video. A real person, it's a video, but not a real person. You don't know. Or it could be a real person, but then again, the video could be highly edited. And then again, and all sorts of scripts and all sorts of messaging that is not necessarily positive. So then again, that's the illusion, because the message, the messenger, the medium, the media is essentially sending you your perception, your senses are picking up this signal, and we're making sense of reality through that, because we attach emotions to our senses, our memories, what we see, then we are associating the actual real person, which is not a fantasy, which is not illusion, is the person that made the video in the first place, or that was recorded or filmed, unreal, because we disassociate the person and we start to think of the person as the actual visual, the message or the messenger, the fantasy, the illusion. Why? Because immediately, we start to think of that person as the person that we see in the video, and the message and resonates with our emotions, whatever we sense from it because of our perceptions, and it becomes a reality because we see this illusion, which is not the real person, is a video. And this could be an image, this could be anything, a news article, this could be a movie, this could be anything. Any message, any mediums, any media, any messenger. And then again, that's not so it's an illusion. And what does that do? Well, once you form an illusion in your mind because of your sensory perceptions, fantasies and illusions, once you form an illusion, then your mind automatically starts to think about that, because we're conscious and self-aware. We think is our nature. So we start to fantasize, meaning we create fantasies now as a result of this illusion. So the illusion renders fantasies, meaning the illusion is an illusion because it's not the real person, right? It's a video of the person that could be edited, it could be scripted, it could not even be a real person, it could be a deep fake. So all I'm saying is that it's not the real person, it's not the real thing. But then again, our mind associates it as a real thing, and it becomes an illusion, and we associate the person and give it all sorts of emotions and attachments. And that illusion of that video, that moment, then creates fantasies in our mind. So we start to think of the actual human as the illusion, and in our minds, because of that reaction, the emotional reaction, sensory perception of that image, that video, the content, we start to create fantasies, and we start to imagine that video as the real thing, an illusion, and then it creates fantasy. So we start to make assumptions, and then we start to associate and do all sorts of biases and errors and fallacies, which is all problems and leads to all sorts of deceptions about that specific thing. So in our minds, we live a fantasy, meaning because of that illusion, now we're fantasizing about the illusion, and then we create in our lives, we start to have new feelings, new emotions because of our new memories and our new thoughts, which are energy, about that video and that person. And it could be, and we start maybe to have negative thoughts about that person in their real lives, and start to fantasize things about that person because of what the medium, the message said, the media that was shared, that video or that photo, whatever the message that was loaded in that, our perceptions, started to add emotions to it and meaning to it. And then in our minds, we start to create fantasies. And these fantasies are very, very deceptive, and they're persuasive because it's our memories then. You see? So illusions generate fantasies. And then these fantasies have a life of their own once they're generated, because you start to believe that that's reality. And then new content that you watch for that person, then you bring your fantasies into the equation, all your assumptions, all your preconceptions. And then that new illusion, because it's not the real person, then again is loaded again with new emotions of the fantasies and the previous illusions. And then this is an endless cycle that never ends. And then the nature is what I said. It leads to delusional thinking, abstract thinking, unrealistic behavior, distorted notions, dissonant, confused. We're confused. He confuses, deceptive. We might actually be, misled by it and take actions that are wrong in our actual lives. And it's distracting us as well. We're wasting our time and our energy. So you see, this is why it's important to understand the nature of this, because there is an infinite number of mediums, an infinite number of media, and an infinite number of messages and messengers in all sorts of ways. A social media app or a newspaper or a movie is just an example, but add all the content and all the mediums and media, the messages and messengers that we see in reality, and then you start to see how we start to create out of these illusions, we start to render fantasies, and then our lives becomes driven by fantasies and illusions. And this is why we become unaware of who we are, because we're driven by fantasies and illusions. We become purposeless because we're driven by all this nonsense, all this information which is not real. Purposeless, you see, we're not taking action. We're wasting our lives on these fantasies because of these illusions. We become delusional as a result, scattering our thoughts, destructive emotionally. We see we become negative as a result, and polarized and very, very low energy and vibration because of all this emotional attachment to all these fantasies and illusions which are not real in the first place. And then it leads to a fragile mind state, and we all fragmented as a result. You see, this is all bad. So we need to move away from fantasies and illusions. That's why Compass manifests free will and shatters fantasies and illusions, because we're energy and we shatter all these. Remember, all these illusions, all these fantasies, they're emotional, because we attach emotions with our senses because we're sentient. It's what we do. Our reality and our perception is about that. It's about emotions attached to memories based on mediums and media, messages and messengers. So because of it, then how do we change that? Well, Compass is, we're infinite love, we're infinite creation, we're infinite energy. We light spherical beings, our human heartbeat, the pulse of life, the pulse of creation, allows us to have self-love, which is true self-boundaries, which is Compass, who we are, sundials. So with our self-love, which is energy, is the highest energy of the heart, we can actually love ourselves. And all this trauma, right, all these shadows, all this unconscious behavior, we deal with the memories, because then again, it gets to the next level, which is outside your control and within your control, right, of these fantasies and these illusions. So what's outside your control? Well, outside your control is things that you can't control. I have spoken about this in a previous video called Control. So essentially, you can't control the content that is created on social media or newspapers or movies that are watched and created out there and shared through the message with the messages and the messengers and the mediums and the media. You can't control that. That's outside your control, and it's essentially, influencing your perception through your senses. So you form a reality in your lives, right? That's outside your control. But then there are things within your control. And those are the things that you watch, the things that you do, the mediums and media that you engage with, and the messages and messengers that you engage with. So that's within your control. And also, events and experiences outside your control that you cannot control because it's mediums and media or messages and messengers outside your control that interact with your life because of your senses and perception. Because remember, the human heartbeat generates the electromagnetic field that gives us life. It's a spherical energy around the human body. So then we're alive and conscious, so we can think, and our senses allow us to see, to hear, and all the things that we feel through our senses is our field of life, of existence. So everything that comes within that, then that's not within our control, it's outside our control, then those cannot be controlled, and that's mediums, media, messengers, and messages. But then ourselves, because we're conscious and self-aware and we have free will, we can control ourselves. So we can control the way we react to the messages, to the messengers, to the mediums and the media. So when the event takes place, comes within our area of influence, within our sphere of influence, within our gravitational force field, our reality, our electromagnetic field that gives us life, so we can consciously see, then we react to it because we're sentient. You see, love, energy, creation. So we react energetically because we're energy. The pulse of life, the pulse of creation, the human heartbeat is energy that gives us power. And the highest frequency of the heart, which comes from the heartbeat, emotions come from the heart, love comes from the heart, is the highest energy. So love is the highest energy. So if we are loving, we love ourselves, and we have all these mediums and media, these fantasies, these illusions, these messages and these messengers being negative, then because of our love, they don't have a hold on us because we are higher frequency. Love disintegrates fantasies and illusions. It shatters them because it's higher frequency, it's higher energy. Okay, it's higher frequency, it's higher energy. So that's within our control. But the thing is that the beauty of this is that when something outside your control comes to your life and you cannot control it because it's outside your control, then the end state is a memory. So that event, that experience ends up becoming a memory in your life, and you attach emotions to memories, right? Because we're sentient. Then memories are part of your control. They're within your control. So you can relieve those memories. If they're painful, they're trauma, they're part of your shadow, your unconscious mind. And then because you love yourself, and energy is the love is the energy of creation, you can love the memory by healing, recovering, feeling better, forgiving, accepting, and gratitude. So you move away from the negativity of the image and you heal. And then that image, which is by itself an illusion because it's a memory, the event already took place, the experience took place, but the memory is still there with the emotional attachment. So it recasts, it gets projected by your shadow, by your unconscious mind. And then you relieve it with the emotions, all the negativity, the trauma, and all these things. So it kind of creates a low vibe around you because it's all this friction, all this background noise, all these low vibration. It's essentially friction. You see, it's noise, is background noise, is that. It's not real because the shadow is not alive. It's lifeless. It's not conscious. It's not self-aware. It's just all this energy due to repressed emotions, repressed feelings, suppressed feelings, events and traumas that it's been in your unconscious mind bothering you, taking up all these resources. So you have to free it up, release it, discharge it. And the way you do that is by loving those memories. So those are within your control. The illusion comes, which is a memory. And then if you leave up the memory, then you create fantasies about that event. And then you start to associate your life with the event of the illusion because of the trauma. And then you create fantasies. It's just like the actual image creating fantasies when it's some media outside your control. But when it's within your control, it's a memory then. And it's a vicious cycle. And it powers the shadow and the unconscious mind. Fear and all this stuff is that. Okay? So how do you move away from that? Well, you move away from that by loving yourself. When you love yourself with your heart, which is creation itself, because the human heartbeat gives us life, and love comes from the heart and its energy. So the energy of our heart allows us to love, and loving is healing, recovering, accepting, forgiving, being grateful. So all these memories, we can relieve them, and we remove the pain away from it by loving ourselves and understanding the trauma and the experience and healing and recovering. So we deload them, we discharge them, and these memories don't have a hold over us anymore. So we transmute it. So the fantasy and delusion, they get disintegrated, they get shattered, and they cease to exist. So whatever remains is just the memories, the event that took place, and then we just integrate that into our conscious mind. And then that's how we are part of Compass. We disintegrate, and then that memory can actually help us now in our purpose, identity, and true self, and make our dreams come true through purposeful daily action, because it makes us resilient and all this. So, and then the things outside your control, then again, you have control over what you engage with. So if messages and messengers, mediums and media outside your control, they're not memories. The things that want to create memories, that want to create impressions, that want to be there in your mind, creating illusions and fantasies. Then how do you take care of that? Well, you don't engage with those. Stay away from it. And if you have to engage with them, because sometimes you have to, well, you love, and then you don't, it's no trauma because it's higher frequency. Love is higher frequency, and higher frequency disintegrates lower frequency, and whatever remains gets absorbed by the higher frequency, love itself. And in this case, the memories, the events. So they're just events that are there to teach us lessons. Okay? So this is what it is. All this low vibration, all this friction, all this background noise, it gets disintegrated, or the shadow gets disintegrated. The defense mechanisms, the trauma, the suppressed emotions, the repressed feelings, all these different things because of the experiences, the events, either outside your control, within your control, memories, events, experiences, mediums, media, fantasies, illusions, messages and messengers. You can deal that with love, energy of creation, and then you move away from it and you evolve as a human being. And then you move into the positive side of it, because remember, we metamorphosized into infinite energy, infinite creation, which is what we are, compass and sundials. And as I speak, the sun just came out. So then again, we're compasses, right? So that delusional falsehoods driving misinterpretations of reality, once we integrate, this negativity, and we shatter these fantasies and illusions with our compass, with our energy of love, Then we become rational because we're compass. So from delusional behavior, we become rational, which is essential logical thinking aligned with reality. So we know what a fantasy is, what an illusion is. We understand what's outside our control and what's within our control. We understand what a message is, what messengers are, what mediums are, what media is. So we are rational thinkers aligned with reality. So our senses, our perceptions are actually accurate because we're compasses. We love ourselves and we know what's good for us because of our free will. And then all this abstract stuff, vague notions inconsistent with reality due to fantasies and illusions, then we make them solid as compass. So firm, tangible presence in reality. That's what it happens. We move away from that. Then all the unrealistic stuff, misaligned perceptions diverging from reality, then they become realistic because we're compass. So accurate sensory perceptions reflecting reality because we understand what reality is and we are solid and rational. So these fantasies and illusions, they're just memories that we integrated so we can make our dreams come true with purposeful daily action as compasses, as sundials. Okay? Sometimes that's why opening the portal, building the bridge, when you stare at the sun and you open your heart, then that energy is coming straight into your senses through your eyes and it's supercharging you and you evolve so you can love more because your heart cells, they have the DNA, so that energy recharges your DNA so you are capable of more love, more healing, more creation, more energy, more everything. And then your brain, the DNA, brain cells, they supercharge and you evolve so you can have better thoughts about your future, better visions about your true self, better dreams, and these painful memories, you heal them faster and then you have better ideas about the future, your dreams, and that's it. That's what you do. That's why you're sundials. You open the portal, you build a bridge. And that's how you heal. That's how you evolve. That's how you move away from these fantasies and these illusions. Then again, distorted stuff, fantasies and illusions, altered sensory perceptions affecting reality. Then they stop because you're compass and then you become clear. So unambiguous, concrete perceptions of reality because you're realistic, you're solid, you're rational. There's no nonsense in your life. Then all this dissonant stuff, conflicting sensory perceptions disrupting reality, fantasies and illusions, then they go away and you become harmonious because you're compass, meaning consistent perceptions creating balanced reality. You see? Because you're clear, you're realistic, you're solid, you're rational, you're harmonious because you're compass, you're infinite creator, you're infinite love, you're making your dreams come true, you love yourself, you taking purposeful daily action every day, you understand why, how you understand energy, time. You understand your purpose, your purposeful life, purposeful actions, purposeful results, you see? Then all this confusion, when you're confused with fantasies and illusions, lacking sensory clarity, disorienting reality, you move away from that into certainty. You're certain, a clear, profound understanding of reality. Because of you're harmonious with reality, you're clear about reality, you're realistic about your life, your dreams, your purpose. You have solid thinking, you're rational. See, you understand perception really well. And then all these deceptions out there due to misaligning sensory impressions impacting reality, then you become honest and you have an honest life because truthful sensory impressions reflecting reality, meaning you understand reality for what it is, objective reality, truth. The truth spectrum is clear because you understand it for what it is. You see reality for what it is. There's no fantasies and illusions, controlling your life. And then, of course, all these distractions, you're distracted because of lacking sensory focus on reality, fantasies, and illusions. You move away from that. You metamorphosize, you transition, you transform into a compass, light spherical energy, infinite creation, and you're focused as a result. You see, complete perceptive attention in reality. To reality. Your focus, your attention is to reality. Your perceptions are focused on what was real, what's solid, what's rational, what's realistic, what's clear, what's harmonious, what's certain, what's honest. Love, creation, your dreams, your purpose, your actions, things within your control. You see? So you move away, the sensory perception is fully transformed. And then what does that do? Well, identity and true self, the first primary element, that's the metamorphosis, right? Fantasies and illusions, you're unaware due to all these problems that I mentioned before. But then you move away from that into what? Self-awareness. You're self-aware of your identity and your true self. You know who you are. You know your true self energy guides you. You know your true self, your dreams, your visions of your true self, your future. They make your destination. You take purposeful daily action. Then your purpose, which is the second primary element, when fantasies and illusions, are there, you're purposeless. But in a way, what's the opposite? Well, when you're fully transformed, you're metamorphosized. It's purposeful. You become purposeful. Now you're purposeful as a result. Purposeful daily action, purposeful goals, purposeful love, purposeful results, purposeful life, purposeful energy. Everything is purposeful. Everything is purposeful. Then again, the third primary element is time and energy. So what does that mean? Well, when you don't use your time and energy appropriately, you're dysfunctional because of all the sensory perception issues that I mentioned before. But when you transform, metamorphosize, and fully evolve by staring at the sun, opening your heart, recharging your human brain, recharging your heart, recharging your DNA, clearing all that negativity, washing that out, disintegrating it, shattering it, because you're compass, you're evolved. Then what does that do? Well, you're the opposite. You're functional because you use your time and your energy functionally, in a functional manner, with a purposeful set of concepts. And then, action. Then in the past, your actions were delusional because of fantasies and illusions, but now it's the opposite. They're methodical. You have a method, your compass. You take purposeful daily action. You have dreams. You see, you flow. You love your creations with your heart. And then how, which is the recalibrating mechanism, when you're not using it properly as a compass, then you're scattered because of all these fantasies, all these illusions, all this negativity. All right? All this low energy stuff, all these inert, lifeless forms, the shadow and the unconscious mind, and all this negativity. So when you move away from that, you scatter, but then you move into what? Compass, which is grounded, the opposite. You're grounded because you have a purpose, you have an identity, a true self. You have a destination, you have a dream, you have callings, you're taking action, purposeful daily action. You're in flow with your actions, with your time, with your energy, with how. You're on true north. You see, it's the opposite. And then again, you move away from destructive, which is, a flow. Your flow will be destructive if you're driven by fantasies and illusions. But when you move away from that, it's harmonious. Your flow is harmonious. You're flowing with your purpose, with your actions, with your emotions. You're loving what you're doing. And then the true north, the seventh primary element, is fragile when you're driven by fantasies and illusions. But the opposite is resilient. You have a resilient true north. Because you know your dreams, you know your purpose, you know your path. You see, you know the way, you know the journey, you know the stage, the theater. Because you're taking purposeful daily action, you're in flow. You see, it's the opposite. It's who we are. It's a metamorphosis, it's compass. Infinite energy, infinite creation, infinite love. And then, the destination, when it's driven by fantasies and illusions, is fragmented. Because it's all these different things. You don't really know all this fear and stuff. But when you know, it's the opposite. It's integrated. You have an integrated destination or many destinations for many purposes, many dreams, many callings, many opportunities, many goals. See? It's the opposite. And this is exactly what this is. This is exactly what this is. And this is within your control. The metamorphosis, the evolution, because we're infinite energy, infinite love, infinite creation. This is why I make these videos, because I know who we are. We're infinite love, infinite energy, infinite creation. We are benevolent species. We're light spherical beings because of the human heartbeat, the pulse of light, the pulse of creation that generates the electromagnetic field around the human body that makes us exist, to think, be intelligent, conscious and self-aware, and most importantly, sentient. So we can love because we love with our hearts, and we exist because of our instinct to live, which is a human heartbeat. And love comes from the heart, which is the highest energy that we can generate in a way as a result of being alive. So love is our instinct. We live to love when we love to live because we want to have purposeful lives. We want to have meaningful lives, happy lives, fulfilling lives. This is why we're here. We're here to create. We are compasses. We manifest free will, and we shatter fantasies and illusions. We render them obsolete with our high energy, which is love. Because with sundials, we stare at the sun, we open our hearts, open our mind, open the portal, build the bridge, evolve, become light spherical beings, just like the sun itself, spherical energy, creation itself. That's who we are. Because the electromagnetic field of the human heart is spherical, and it powers us. We're all energy, and we create with love, which is energy. Make love, have children. Our instinct is to love our children, and then we love our other creations as well, and we're here to create. We're infinite eternal creators. We're compasses, we're sundials. This is who we are. We're infinite energy, infinite love, infinite creation. light spherical beings. This is our nature. This is who we are. We're the citizens of the Republic of Planet Earth. We're the leaders of the Republic of Planet Earth. We're the defenders of the Republic of Planet Earth. We're the citizenry of the Republic of Planet Earth. This is who we are. We're infinite eternal creators. Humanity, I love you all with all my heart, with all my might. I will be making more videos. Just wanted to make this video today. Love you all with all my heart, with all my might.